Hey guys, thanks for joining us on this special episode, and don't forget to support our Patreon. Just $1 or more will get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. Enjoy the show! The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor is owned by Universal Pictures, Alphaville Films, Relativity Media, the Summors Company, and Rob Cohen. Please support the official release. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to Mummy Month. So after the first two Mummy movies were a decent success for Universal, the question is, where would the franchise go from here? Well, in 2002, a prequel film, The Scorpion King, was released starring The Rock, and acted as an origin story to the character. I would honestly review the damn thing, but Mummy Month is already packed as it is, so maybe we'll get to it some other time. However, Universal decided to make a third film in the Mummy series and continue the adventures of the O'Connells. A mere 6 years later. But can a bit of development hell mean that the studio wants to take its time on the third installment? Well, let's find out as we take a look at The Mummy, The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. So the movie opens with the Universal logo, but then downgrades to Google Earth, as the film doesn't take place in Egypt this time around, but instead the land of China, which is where most of Hollywood's box office earnings come from nowadays, as our new mummy, the Dragon Emperor, played by martial arts superstar Jet Li, is a warlord set on global domination, raiding homes, enslaving the people, and lighting villages in flames.
Every time they make a Robin Hood movie, they burn our village down!
He also apparently built the Great Wall of China that Matt Damon would guard later, and contains many magical powers, using all of the Earth's elements. Great, it's the Chinese Captain Planet. That or the Last Airbender. But a spiritual warrior plants a spell on Asian Darth Vader and sends him and his army into an eternal sleep. After a long-ass prologue, we go from Sucking Tiger Shitty Dragon to George of the Jungle's fishing adventures as we see Rick O'Connell, played once again by Brendan Fraiser, is retired from the adventurous lifestyle, living happily with his wife who is selling their adventures in a series of novels. Ha ha ha. This is where, of course, we meet back with our mummy-loving MILF, Evie, played by Rachel Weisz. Who the hell is that? Come on, movie. Where's Rachel Weisz? I mean, it's not like they had to recast her.
Honestly, I can say she's a completely different person.
Viewers, would you please step outside for a second?
Sir, the energy levels are off the scale! I've never seen an asset with this much power and abilities on his own!
His anger has always been his weakness. Her time will come soon enough.
Hey, Cat and Nick, what was that?
Well, seeing as how Jackie Boy is currently doing Mummy Month, that's the sound that he makes whenever he hits the third film in a franchise.
Alright, thanks a lot, Cat. I'll talk to you later. Sean over and out. Whew, Jesus. Interrupt my hentai again, why don't you?
The hybrid. Hell, I know. That's Dr. Wu. Hello?
Good day to you, sir. This is BigJackFilms, and from one chap to another, could you please get me out of this screaming shithole?
sounded rather rude in the middle.
What the hell was that?
Honey, is that Jack's scream I hear?
Krillin, I may not be the variant in his universe, but even I know that's Jack screaming.
Issac, listen. That is the sound of ultimate suffering. My heart made that sound when Ruben slaughtered my father.
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.
You shit-spewing son of a bitch!
He did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash.
You recasted Evie. You recasted Evelyn O'Connell. You recasted one of the best characters of your franchise. Why? Okay, I know I'm just starting up this review, but keep in mind, this was the key reason I had this film on my blacklist. This is the reason this movie sucked dried up mummy tits. You either cast Rachel Weisz or cut her out entirely. From what I've heard, Rachel Weisz dropped out of the project due to her dislike of the script.
1865 was... Oh, for heaven's sake.
Okay, well, in some areas I can see why, but this was her character! You can't recast something like this, especially someone who makes Jake Lloyd's performance in The Phantom Menace look Oscar-worthy!
You're a slave? I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
And the Oscar goes to... Mufflump! This actress killed this movie! Fuck! It's gonna make this movie completely insufferable! I just broke the DVD! So after the biggest fuck-up in recent cinema history, we then return to Alex O'Connell, played this time by Luke Ford, carrying on his family's name, discovering the Dragon Emperor's tomb and putting him on display in Shanghai, where we see...
Here's to you, princess.
Oh, that's nice, movie. That's just lovely. You bring back this British tit, but not Rachel Weisz? This is mental abuse, movie! This is fucking mental abuse! So Rick and Evie's stunt double decide to visit their son and his discovery, where they come across one of O'Connell's fighter pilot buddies, played by Sir Davos?
Mad Dog McGuire?
Ricochet O'Connell.
Huh, I guess he finally converted to the Lord of Light, gained immortality, and has been living a long-term life after Westeros went to shit. Well, from one undead person to another undead person, I guess he'll come in handy for the battle to come.
Will you forgive me if I switch sides?
Why am I laughing?
But unfortunately, an organization of what looks like Chinese Nazis plan a trap for the O'Connells and force them to revive the Dragon Emperor.
Oh, shit.
Here we go again.
Hey Lois, remember that time we were making these jokes in the second movie before it was a meme on Grand Theft Auto?
Rick, stop quoting Family Guy and shoot the clay fucker!
And of course, with another mummy pledging to take over the world. Not worth a joke. What follows is a ton of cheesy but campy fun action scenes throughout the movie as the O'Connells are once again off on another adventure to save the world from an army of mummies. So given that this movie has been through development hell, how does it hold up compared to the first two films? Well, in my opinion, this movie sucks! Okay, while this movie definitely is the weakest of this particular series, I will admit there are some positive points. First off, the story and settings I can actually get behind. After two movies with the same mummy, I'm all for going in a different direction and exploring other types of mummies in the world. And China was a surprising and fun idea at the time. I mean, nowadays it's abused to death with them running the Hollywood system, but even if it is undoubtedly historically inaccurate, you gotta remember that even the first two movies were outlandish with history, so I can let it slide. Also, a lot of the characters, both old and new, are pretty enjoyable. Even though this was at the time that Brendan Fraser's career was going into a bit of a shithole, though granted it wasn't his fault given it was a personal battle between him and the Hollywood system, which today has actually been revived, so kudos to him. He actually does his damn best to keep with the character of O'Connell that we enjoyed. Even though he's a lot older now, he still has a few scenes where he wishes he could go back to the glory days. Also, while Jonathan is still a little annoying, even he gets a laugh here and there from me.
You guys are like mummy magnets!
Alex this time around is actually more developed as a character, even if he's played by a different actor. I swear they casted him just due to him looking like Freddy Both. So why the fuck didn't you just get him back? But of course, we got a new batch of characters to talk about. I will admit that the best of the new characters is Michelle Yeoh. She's honestly a really good actress and deserves more attention and opportunities in other roles. In fact, that's actually a given now, given she's starring in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although it mostly looks like she got off the set of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But hey, at least it's not the sequel. And finally, there's our new mummy with the Dragon Emperor. And I gotta say, he is a welcomed addition to the franchise and can be kind of fun to watch. I mean, he's played by Jet Li. He's great in everything he does. He's a fucking martial arts legend. For not much in the way of dialogue, Jet does okay at best. But with his physical talents, it really pays off. Also, he turns into King Ghidorah. That's actually pretty cool.
Mad Dog can outfly a three-headed lizard any day of the week. Let's go.
The movie still has that classic adventurous tone like the previous two movies, but it also brings a ton of elements from those of a Kung Fu Wu-Tang movie. The stunts in this movie are still pretty damn impressive, and I gotta give props to the masters when it's due. Some of the action scenes are a lot of fun in this movie, like the big chase scene in the city. It's like if Benny Hill was taken over by Tom Cruise. No, wait, no, never mind, scratch that, we'll talk about that next time. Also, the mummy does a kung fu kick to a firework. That's freaking awesome! This scene is straight out of the opening bit of Temple of Doom. In fact, if the first two movies were essentially Raiders of the Lost Ark, this one is more of a mix of Temple of Doom and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. While the elements that take from Temple of Doom are amazing, the stuff with Crystal Skull is... well, kinda lame. Hell, this movie came out the exact same summer as Crystal Skull. Maybe that's why the 1930s action-adventure genre died off. These two entries essentially killed it. There's also the battle in the mountains, which, while it does come right out of nowhere, is a great scene. It's like Call of Duty, World War II, except I don't get to play it. Also, this movie has Yetis. God, I wish I was smoking something right now to make that up.
Abominable snowman!
Oh my god, this is so utterly stupid! But I love it. Where did they come from? Why do they know Chinese language? Who the fuck knows and who the fuck cares? This scene is completely ridiculous, but also kind of enjoyable. Even though they set up the idea of Yetis versus mummies and give it wasted potential.
Pussies. I like pussies. When they're in my ass, I call them ass pussies.
However, the best thing about this movie is the final battle scene, which I was honestly quite surprised how fun it was. I mean, it's mummies versus gunfighting explorers versus Chinese Nazis versus World War II fighter planes. This movie could honestly be worth that scene alone.
Welcome to the 20th century!
It's so over the top trying to be Lord of the Rings or the Chronicles of Narnia, which its sequel also happened to come out the exact same year in 2008. God, 2008 was a big year for movies, wasn't it? But man, do they have fun with it. Especially given this movie feels like it has bigger ideas, but a much lower budget than the previous films. Seriously, why do they keep doing that?
Seems a feeling mutual!
While The Mummy Returns did do decent at the box office, it was horribly panned by critics.
In entertainment news, The Mummy returns big time. The movie sequel to The Mummy had a record-setting weekend debut. According to studio estimates, moviegoers plunked down just over $70 million to see the action flick. That's the most ever for a non-holiday opening weekend.
And I don't see why, because it's a fun, cheap-ass sequel. But of course, at the peak of the internet, rumors immediately began surfacing on a third entry in the series. Stephen Summers, who directed the first two movies, stated in an early interview that there is a demand for it, but most of the gang would only be up for it again if we could find a way to make it bigger and better. But by May 2004, he expressed his doubts about making another one and wanted to move on to other projects, which unfortunately bit him in the ass. By December 2005, the script was written about a Chinese mummy, and production immediately began on Universal's part, which was then expanded to be a potential franchise in which the O'Connells, instead of fighting just Egyptian mummies, actually would travel the world to fight other mummies. Hell, a fourth film had planned to have Aztec mummies in South America. That alone actually sounds pretty cool. In fact, maybe even better than the final product we got with the third movie. Though, with Rachel Weisz out, it did make the movie feel completely off. And the movie, honestly, when it came out, kinda tanked. This was the same summer that The Dark Knight came out, and at the time, Batman was dominating theaters, so this movie kinda just came and went without really any interest. So it may seem like this movie is a passable action flick. However, it has a lot of elements that kinda kill it. While the story is a nice change of location and culture, it unfortunately has a lot of tropes and cliches that don't work at all. There's a lot of reminders of the previous two movies, and those jokes get really, really old.
Do you remember the time the mummy had me tied down, and you came to save me?
Oh, just don't wake the big guy up while I'm gone. Yeah, well, good going. You raised another mummy.
As I'd like to stay this boyishly handsome forever, Shangri-La is a crock.
Yeah, but that's what you used to say about mummies too, John. You did pretty well off it.
By the way, while some of the jokes are passable, most of them don't work at all and are annoying as all hell. For example, they try to do this record joke twice in the movie and it really doesn't fit.
But I'm going to sit at that typewriter until something exciting comes out. Just as he was about to plunge his...
Why do you keep trying that? This is something that would fit more in Batman and Robin. Did Schumacher walk onto the set and guest direct or something?
And I really want to apologize.
There's also a lot of cock jokes between Rick and his son, and it feels really inappropriate and uncomfortable to watch.
Have you ever seen a Walter P-38?
It's pretty anemic compared to the Peacekeeper.
It's not a bad size, Dad. It's a bad stamina.
Thompson submachine gun.
But the cocking mechanism always jams.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, if I wanted cock humor, I'd go watch the porno version! Oh, come on, I was just kidding!
We're gonna hit him high, hard, and fast and smash him.
Hell, the soundtrack this time around isn't even that good. It was composed by Randy Edelman, and that's a real shame given I'm actually a fan of his work with the likes of Dragonheart. Hell, with Stephen Summers out, direction actually did go to Dragonheart's own Rob Cohen. Again, kind of a shame since this guy has directed a few good movies. And while the movie does keep reminding us in the jokes, it also tries to do the same in the movie. Hell, this one feels like the first two thrown into one movie, except it's in a Chinese setting. It even gets to the point of having its own Book of the Dead, for Christ's sakes. This shit is beat for beat the first two movies.
Oh, I hate mummies. I really hate mummies!
Even the sand looks like the same particles from the CGI renders from the first film.
I don't like sand.
This also leads to some plot holes concerning the first two films. For example, while it takes place years after the final confrontation with Imhotep and the Dragon Emperor seeks eternal life and all that jazz, why didn't he look into the whole story of Imhotep and try to seek him out? I mean, China isn't that far off from Egypt, it wouldn't hurt to make a trip there. Second, if there's another mummy trying to conquer the world, where the fuck is the Magi? And for that matter, where the fuck is Adith Bey? Couldn't Rick seek him out and helping him fight this new mummy? I mean, they've had experiences, and it seems like after the ending of the second movie, their mission is kind of over. So I think they could have had some free time on their hands. Though, to be fair, in March 2006, actor Oded Fehr, who played Adolf Bey in the first two films, said that while Summers had told him a third film was in development and being written, he didn't seem to have much interest in coming back. And I don't blame him, since much like Rachel Weisz, this film's script felt really rushed and forced. And while there are some other negative points, like the CGI getting worse, shaky cam shots, bad dubbing, and wire work, the biggest problem with the film is, of course, the recasting of Evie. Good lord, they didn't even try on this one! I even looked into the actress's career, and there was nothing familiar I could pull up. She sticks out like a sore thumb, and it just doesn't feel right at all. While the rest of the movie is passable, she is such a black sheep in this film. And her acting... God, is it bad!
Any regrets, darling?
I'm sorry, but she's putting absolutely no effort into playing this iconic character! And I can't take it seriously at all!
Here's to retirement.
May we stay this happy forever.
It's not working.
We should sit down and discuss this like a family.
It's not working.
Perhaps I was overcompensating for the fact that you never took an interest in his life. Guess Mummy's bring out the best in me.
It's not fucking working!
Oh, stop it, you two! How many experiences are we talking about?
We've got to take him to Shangri-La now. It's our only chance.
It's not working, Gerald. But it has to work! Maybe if it's not working, Gerald, face it!
There's something incredibly romantic about vanquishing the undead.
It's not working! This is the worst recasting I've ever seen in a motion picture! It's so bad that I'd rather watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation! Which makes the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor suck sand-coated shit! Again, while it does have some redeeming but stupid fun qualities, the recasting of Eve, along with many other problems, including this abrupt ending, which is so bad I didn't even want to bring it up, killed not just the movie but the franchise entirely. It's obvious there were a lot of production problems and difficult discussions with its casting, story, and marketing to American and overseas audiences. The best way I can describe this movie is like this. Remember the LEGO Adventurer sets with Johnny Thunder fighting off mummies and dinosaurs? That's the first two movies. But the third movie feels more like Orient Expedition. It's got some good ideas and it's kind of fun, but there's something kind of off about it. While it does definitely suck shit in some areas, it's not as bad as something like Jaws 3D, but is worse than that of Jurassic Park 3. And that's gotta be saying something since I've warmed up to that movie over the years, especially after the release of Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, come at me, Liam. So if anything, much like Jurassic Park 3, I'm gonna give it a fair 5 out of 10. It's got some fun elements, but it's by far the weakest of the series and is overall nothing but dust in the wind. And since this movie pissed me off enough, it's time to send this son of a bitch on my property back to the fiery depths of hell. Lure the creature into the portal. Hold them off for as long as you can.
I don't know how we're getting out of this, man. This shit's fucked.
Yeah, I know, but we've been through worse. I mean, Cobra, Redcoats, occasional waifus.
I haven't had any fucking waifus.
Well, you haven't even tried.
Well, you haven't fucking made me any with your fucking machines and shit.
On my signal, draw the talisman to me, and I'll absorb it into my sword.
Sure this is gonna work?
It's gotta.
Yeah, it has to.
It has to. We're contractually obligated by Universal to end this franchise.
Literally. If we don't end it, we're gonna get sued. We're fucked. It's game over, man.
At least we're on Disney.
That's true.
Plus Universal has Nintendo, so it's not really game over.
Yeah, true enough.
We should go to Super Nintendo World.
We really should. It'd be a fun time.
That'd be really cool.
Probably do some fucking traveling for
Yeah,
once.
do some Mario Kart, some Donkey Kong. You can get a hold of Princess Peach's peaches.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Hold the line! Going in!
Jack! Go $6 million man!
This time! Stay dead! Thank the fuck Christ.
Thank Jesus.
Ugh. We need a vacation.
We do.
Very impressive work, Patient 92. Perhaps you have learned that you can no longer tinker what you cannot control. Nope. If anything, I've learned that reviewing that many movies on Halloween is a pain in the ass. No matter, your attempt has been beneficial to our research, and the head of the department will keep a close eye on you. From now on, consider your review time limited. We will return with an assessment on what to do with you when this is over. End of line. Best to head back while the monitors are down. You don't want to be in my position as an accomplice, Brad. Tom got damaged during the battle. Open up Harry. We move. Around the clock.
I'll let the guys know. What about you?
I'll manage for now. Even though Mummy Month is dead and buried. I still got one last creature to tackle. Scientology!